Okay, we are live. I'm just gonna check. Um, yeah, we are live. I want to welcome everyone into this episode. The episode is centered around the STEAM program that we have been facilitating over this year for 100 young women in Africa. And a brief introduction about and a context about who we are. And then I'd like to welcome our guests as well. So the Chrysalis is a space, we launched and we started, we uh, kind of birthed ourselves as a platform about 3.5 years ago. It was in the midst of the pandemic, and we did it primarily because, we started to see how much of an impact one can make as a team with community and looking at community at the heart of problem solving. And we launched our project 3.5 years ago, which was centered around economic empowerment, financial literacy in Nigeria for our young members over there. And we had about 150 young students who joined us. And there was a lot of education around, especially because Africa is the third largest region that uses Bitcoin and, just the technology of blockchain. So the entire program was centered around using blockchain technologies from a utility standpoint and how it relates to some of the geopolitical challenges that they face on an everyday basis. And through that, and through those interactions and building relationships, we internally started to become more aware of how we need to do a better job of listening to our communities, paying attention to, uh, what kind of pain points they have, and also what inspires them. And to be honest, when I was talking to, uh, uh, NGOs and youth groups and women's groups, I was really moved because I found, even if I were to compare it to, youth in India, in contrast, I found that the youth in Africa have been and are a lot more dedicated, a lot more, uh, of understanding of what sustainability is. And from that standpoint, we spend the next 18 months having a lot of conversations and really getting a lot more intimate with listening from the standpoint of what um, these organizations were doing on the ground, what the real challenges were in communities. And all of that, we felt was really rewarding because while education has been, one of the foundational pillars of how we choose to serve and support, we realized that we need to facilitate this from the community standpoint. And so last year we started doing work around the prospect of STEM education in Africa, and we launched this program called SEAM. And I'm sure, Navneet is going to talk more about this. I would like for you to talk more about STEM versus STEAM because I know in our sessions we talked about this too. But we decided to add the component of arts in it. And there are a lot of, nuances and hidden aspects to what that means from a STEM perspective. And this program has included and involved 5 countries in Africa. We've had Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Mozambique, and Uganda, and we just kind of we've had a wind down of our container, which was an 8-week container, which focused around 2 programs. One was climate entrepreneurship, and the other was innovation. And we also have one of our professors, Navneet Bhushan, in the room with us. Um, and we've also decided to have these episodes primarily because we realize that systemically culturally and individually, there are a lot of blocks, and they're self-created blocks, whether they are at a community level or at an individual level, that hinder and come in the way of the way we women see ourselves, but also the way society kind of frames, women from the perspective of this area. And so these episodes allow us to open up the discussion and look at the landscape of what that means with regards to emerging the market of emerging technologies, where things are going from an innovation standpoint, and how women can continue to come online and be more present for themselves, but also contribute to evolving innovation. And all of that to say, I'm very excited to have our guest today and my co-host Navneet. We will go around the room for introductions, but I'm very honored to have these kind of discussions because this is true testament to how y'all are breaking barriers. Y'all are showing people that those perceptions are not true. So I would like to first invite Navneet, if you can let everybody know a bit about yourself, and then we can move on to the ladies to do likewise. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Caroline, and also very interesting introduction. Although I have heard it many times now, so I understand it much more deeply. Also, because I have learned it exactly what you say, and also the reason why this program actually is very important from the point of view of highlighting the specific differences in the way uh, I mean the gender differences, how they actually get reflected in the society, and also how society actually sort of give the impetus for different genders, both the genders, to explore the world as such. And in that context, I never had this sort of a view that it's really gender dependent on whether you pursue a particular subject or particular field. But looks like there seems to be some sort of a difference. I mean, that's what I gathered. But having said that, I mean, at some point it becomes, almost same or similar for both. So that way, I don't think it is. I mean, in specifically in our 21st century, as they call it, it should not be considered as a barrier or as a sort of a peculiar sort of a stoppage by someone or society per se. But having said that, obviously there are challenges, and also every life, of course, has its own view and also the path. But definitely we can learn from each other's journey. And specifically, I'm actually very excited whenever I discuss how someone got interested in a particular subject, specifically scientific area or science or scientific so questions, because obviously we, all of us, as a child we have asked these questions: why do I exist, and why the world exists, and why, right? Why do whatever is there. So those sort of curiosity based questions, or curiosity inherent in the child, whether it's a boy or girl, all of us have the same set of questions. Or I mean, they say that till the age of 5, your number of questions that a child asks from 3 to 5 is 370 questions per day. 370 to 400 questions per day. But that time we don't really look at whether it's a boy asking or a girl asking, right? I mean, we answer those questions. And somewhere, I think after that, the things may be digressing a little bit. But the curiosity, if it is retained and also pursued ahead, I mean, that it doesn't matter whether you're a boy or girl, or who is pursuing. Having said that, there are stories, and each of us have, and it will be great honor to listen to. The ladies, as you said, Bhavna and Anupama. I know them because I happen to work with them in their respective courses that they did. And in fact, it's a great honor that they accepted our request to come to this program, and specifically the way Caroline does this program. So I'm very fascinated by these interactions. Although I may not be the part of the same gender, but I sort of connect with all the stories that we have. So thank you, and I look forward to the session, also contributing whatever I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And really, I want to take a moment to thank you because through this entire program, we need, to practice better inclusivity. And I learned this long back when I started a women's community in Bangalore called Viva. It was all women until 3 years, maybe 2 years after I started it. I started to realize that by starting an all women's community for women who needed to show up better, I was actually doing a disservice because by separating women from the largesse of who we are is not the final outcome. We need to, we are operating in a world where we have men and women, and by being more inclusive, by being more open towards understanding how women, regardless of their journey and where they are, they still need to go back home. They still need to go into workplaces. And what does that mean? So I'm really happy that Navneet, that you brought that up in the support of identifying the right guests through this podcast is really important. And I do believe that what you said backstage before we came online, which was about we need to have men in these conversations as well, primarily because we're addressing things that are systemic. And this is not just for one country, this is a universal phenomenon. And it's been around, quite frankly, for a long, long time, way before technology as we know it, because there are different types of technologies, right? But even before this kind of technology existed, these are things. And by not talking about it, by not bringing up these discussions, we're adding to these biases. So having these conversations, having men in the room, whether it is from a talent perspective, whether it's from an education perspective, or even how men feel about this, because I'm sure that men also have a perspective around this. And there are some really, really fabulous men that I know in my life personally, as well as professionally, who support this. So I just wanted to, put that out there and add to what you just said. Now over to Bhavna and Anupama, uh, for you to both take the lead and let everyone know a bit about the both of you before we kind of unpack your stories.
Sure. Okay, I'll start. So, if it comes about the professional journey, currently I'm working with HP as a senior product designer, and it has been many paths. It was not a very linear path that I was always a design student. It was not like that. Like as a child, I was curious and I was attracted to many things. Like I was doing debate, extempores, and I was good in academics also. So, and I used to get attracted to many career opportunity, whether it's like being in the Air Force or being as an engineer or a doctor. So there are many possibilities for me, and I was more inclined and interested into science and mathematics, so that's why I took like maths and bio in my 11th 12th high school. And post that I'm coming from a setting in India where back then the engineering and doctor was medicine was a quite obvious choice, and I followed the same path. So I choose engineering. I done my engineering in computer science. I met wonderful people, and coincidentally it was all women college, so it was a very different perspective because I was altogether studying in co schools in my school journey. But when I went to like a college, it was like women engineering college, so it's like all women all around, and we are trying to understand the engineering perspective. The days were very fun filled, but sooner I realized that like my love for science and maths was way different than engineering. So I landed on a consulting job as an engineer, and I figured it out that what are the close career calls which are aligning to my strength. And it is well known saying in India that when you go to engineering, it's like you explore multiple opportunities there. So I was the same kind of a student in my college, and then I explored a lot of extracurricular activities and a few of the management tasks. I picked up a hobby and habit as a reading, and that has led me to explore management and design as the two opportunities in my higher studies. So I met one of a very wonderful friend when I was working, and I was just trying to understand that what do you think, I should do masters in management or I should go for design. So he has told me very beautiful thing, that graduation is your need and masters is your dream. So that has come with me as a reflection and pause, and that's how I look out for a course which is, work at the junction of design and management. And that's how I find a strategic design management course offered by NID, which provide a multiple perspective in terms of design, business, and human behavior. And after working for 6 years, I enrolled and I got an opportunity to do the course in NID, which was not very conventional or traditional path when I am coming from a place called Rajasthan in India, where usually people do their undergrad and then they directly go for their postgrad, and then they are all set for marriage and rest of their life thing. But I was privileged that my family has given me opportunity to understand and explore myself and my interest. So that's how after undergrad I worked for 6 years, and then I went for the masters in NIT. And it's a very beautiful course. It has changed me a lot as a human and as a designer, and it has enabled a strategic perspective in me. And I'm currently applying my knowledge working in HP. So yeah, this is a very detailed view of my journey so far.
Thank you. Over to you, Anupama.
Hi, I'm Anupama. So currently I'm working in Enadron System Private Limited in Gurgaon. So I have shifted many domains in my life. So my upbringing was like in defense only. My father was working in DRDO. So I have a lot of surrounding with the scientists who are always talking about the things and the missiles and grenades and everything. So as a child, I have been in these things, like even in the parties, they're talking about the how what are the project things or sometimes like that. So that have inspired me a lot with the people. So bringing to that in, I was little bit of a sports oriented person in my school time. So arts and sports were my like major keys comparatively than the maths. But gradually, as it goes, as a non-med, I opted and I got an interest in science. And after completing my BTech in like electronics and communication from Parasita University, I was a little unwell for a time. I was hospitalized. At that time, I explored the art to to convey myself. So I started drawing like as a profession. I took as a profession. I went into the music. I was doing podcasts with some of the music people and drawing on the walls, making music cover with the people for like 3 years. And my parents supported a lot about it, even for that. Then gradually, this music is just what the frequency and the microwave and the waves that travels. So I am curious in that. So my father told that you, if you are interested in go for the radar or something. So I joined a company in Delhi, and my process goes from like PCB designing, and I met a very wonderful person, Rana sir. So what happened? He was an Air Force retired person who treated my little daughter, and he made me an interest in radars in that domain. So as the COVID hit and I lost my job, then I went on studying basic things, and I guess there were high power computing system power and domain at that time. And I came across this master degree program on the internet, defense technology. So I completed their PG program in MIT University. And first semester, Navneet Bhushan sir also taught us, yeah, warfare strategic systems that I remember. And there were many things. And there were this one of a very interactive domain where we were like divided and we participated like high command in India and Russia, how you will do it logically and strategically, what is your go on that. And I liked it. Also, we connected and have seen in form of an art and expressiveness. So these are the things, and I got a job opportunity in Paris working for radar, and hopefully in my domain. Currently, we grabbed a very good project that is called synthetic aperture radar. So radar is basically of two types. So it's an imaging radar and the basic. So imaging radar was my domain, and that too also on a P band that has not been done in the world right now. It's currently being we are working on it. So it was a very challenging thing because there was nothing to study, nothing to do, and you have to do it on your own, consulting scientists and professors. So due to some circumstances, I have to leave a job, and now I'm in UAV design and electronics part. So I'm kind of like opposite of the part, but yes, I'm in defense. So I hopefully do something good. That's basically.
Thank you. Navneet, you want to jump in? I can see you wanting to say something, so please go ahead.
So I didn't know much. I mean about Anupma, and this is actually a revelation. What you told us about your interest and your work, and also how the journey has been. Also, Bhavna, of course, Bhavna has we have discussed also a little bit. I know a little bit. I mean, but I'm sort of fascinated by both of you in the sense that Bhavna did engineering and went to this design part, right? Whereas Anupma did the other way around. She was interested in sports, arts, and suddenly discovered science radar. So you are actually a complementary couple. I mean, I'm very excited how this has happened, this sort of a combo. And I think it will be very good to understand what were those turns and changes that in your life you were able to shift from so-called arts to the science suddenly, although maybe through music and the patterns that you draw, Anupma, I think maybe that might have been the trigger for you to so get into imaging radars, which is so fascinating world. I mean, technically also relatively new. And Bhavna shifting from the engineering computer science, the coveted computer science BTech everyone wants to have, and then shifting to something very very different. I mean trying to be designer. I think this is a very amazing type of a set of people we have got. I mean, both of you. So it will be great to understand what were these changes, what exactly were the drivers for both of you, as you have mentioned. But I think it will be very interesting to see where I mean, what were the decision points, or what were they sort of dormant when you were doing, say, arts or sports? And anyway, you were interested, very curious about the technical part. I mean, Anupma and Bhavna, anyway, was artistic or designer per se from the very beginning. But the turns that you followed, and it basically created this sort of a new path. What exactly were the key drivers, and when did you realize that this has to be changed? I mean, that will be very interesting for me personally also. Thank you.
So yeah, I can start on that part. So in my childhood, in my summer vacation, we called aunt as Masi. So I used to go to my grandma's house, and my Masi, she used to learn some of the craft work. So my introduction to art is in the form of creating something. Like she used to teach me some of the ceramic work, or making flowers from the papers, and it got intrigued with me. but I always pursued as a hobby because I was good in academics, and then I used to think that through my education I can change the situation of my family. I'm coming from a very decent family, and back then it was understand that education is a very powerful tool that you can change the situation of your family. And I was like a elder sibling also, so that like nobody has put the pressure or responsibility, but it directly comes on me that yeah, I am the elder one and I should change something, I should bring some change to my family. So I never thought that the art or a craft which I am doing, it can be pursued as a career. And I guess after my 10th I stopped doing all those things. I tried to focus more on my academic things. And back then the definition of design is very limited to me as a fashion designer. And
Okay.
through my persona, I was very very knowing that if I go to fashion design, it won't be the good career for me, because that is not aligning to my interest. But when I came to Bangalore, and it was such a beautiful place that I got to meet people in my office. And then through the social media, back then the Facebook was very popular. So a friend of friend got selected in one of the design school in India, and then I started asking like what is this field, and what is this user experience design. And then she started explaining that okay, here we try to solve problems creatively, we are trying to understand the human, we are communicating, we are conducting some interview, and that sounds very interesting to me. And then like when I go through the syllabus of the exam, it was like studying the different dance form or the musical instrument or the different places in India. So that was very interesting to me to read about it. And when I wrote my exam, I wrote it for IIT and NID both. And I just got shortlisted for prelim. So that has created that okay, I can pursue this course. But I really took my time to understand that whether I really wanted to go into it or not. And when you see from the outside world, design look is like it's just design. But when you get into the design as a career opportunity, is like NID offer 19 disciplines in design. Like you can be a photographer, photography designer, or you can be a like a apparel designer, you can be a graphic designer. So it really took some time for me to figure out that if I really want to jump into design, what kind of a designer persona would resonate to myself, and which course I should pursue. And I'm really grateful that I got such opportunity to understand my interest, and opportunity to reflect also. So back then I was working in Infosys. So I took very small capsule to be confident about it. Okay, I really want to pursue this course, because the strategic design management course, when I started developing interest, it was the opportunities are very limited in India. Even if you see here, like most of the people don't get very direct opportunity to work as a strategic design person. So like I did two small courses from ISC Bangalore in design to first of all understand what design it is, because I was coming from an engineering background. And the way to think about any problem is like in analytical way. It's not like abductive thinking or creative thinking. It's like doing a root cause analysis to solve any problem. So the ISC course, I met a wonderful mentor, Professor Achut Rao sir. So he has exposed me to design thinking and innovation, and what are the design processes one should follow when they are designing something. That was really eye opener. And then I land on a work opportunity in Infosys. And Infosys value system is very education driven. So there I got an opportunity to do a course called a strategic design program, which was taught by Rhode Island School of Design. So some of the faculty used to come, and then I spent almost 1 month in Mysore doing that course, studying the different books. around the human psychology and the system design and understanding the larger perspective of design. And that's how I got a confidence that okay, I'll figure out my job perspective once I'm done with the course, but I really want to pursue this course, and I'm confident about it that I should go. So that is like a very um, calculated and slow paced decision. It's not that okay, I just found out and I jumped and I got. It's not like for me. It really took some time for me to figure out, to reflect, and to be confident that what I am doing, it is coming with my time and certain amount of money I'm going to invest. So it's like, would I be satisfied and happy once I do this course? And I'm really fortunate and grateful that I did that course.
Thank you so much. There's so much coming through everything that y'all are sharing, and this is very profound. These are fundamental, pillars towards activating, but also providing confidence for other women to listen to. So thank you for sharing that, Bhavna. How about you, Anupama?
I would say that my journey has been very up and down in my whole time, but yeah, uh, it is very fascinating and interesting how I actually learn from the people surrounding. I don't know what it is, but people randomly starts talking to me, and I think it's a blessing for me. So I have met very people like who have explained me about their personal life and experiences, through which I have taken out many things in my life. So in my bachelor's, I was not well for a long time. So I was exploring on my life. So I traveled a lot places. So I came across two instruments that's named as handpan and dijingro. And I still love them. I know how to play like tabla, and that has been a very good thing and other things. So these two people were playing this, and I went to them and I talked to them like what instruments these are, because I haven't seen at that time. So they explained me how it is, how does it work, and what it is. So the tune and the frequency that was going, it was very soothing to my mind, and I thought that how the frequency and the hertz work, like even in like it's soothing my brain. It's very basic, but yes, it does. Not only in like phone of a radar or an automobile radar or any defense radar, but yes, it does. So I came across some people where I indulged in drawing and other things, like what thinking is, what imagination is, and how you can draw things from that. So I started my journey there only, and started. Some people told me that yes, you can work on it. So yeah, I did work on them for the custom, and yes, I did open a kind of company that actually failed for a time due to some issues. But yes, I did for like 3 years and so, and 3 years, yeah. It was like I, there I came across some young kids like on 18 or 19, especially boys and girls who like have not very good financial condition, and they have left their studies like in 10th or 8th, and they used to flaunt in music and like they do this and that. So I had some sessions on your this Clubhouse. There is this app called Clubhouse. So they used to jam in session, and so I told them that it's very good that whatever, like currently they are very popular in Mumbai and other domains in the cities. So I told them that it's good that you're doing, but you should pursue some studies in this. So I know a very good kid who was interested in like arts, but their parents forced him for the non-medical. So he said, "Ki, nahi, ma'am, ye go, and I want to do it." So I okay, then pursue the. There is a Mumbai University where he is pursuing the arts and bachelor's. So in music. So he when he got admission, he showed me as like profile that he has got an admission and now he will pursue the bachelor. And I was really proud of him. Like a very good thing that you are doing. Also, there were two kids I remember in Chandigarh. There were. So they did complete via government education, their 10th and 12th board exam. Although one failed and I made him study maths for the night. But yes, he cleared it. And I'm really proud that I helped them, both of them, for doing that. And is how my journey goes. Then I switched taking my advice for in the technical term, and then I went to PCB designing, and then uh, as I told, my father was in defense, so every surrounding, if even I go in the walk in the evening, I'll meet some people who will start talking to me. So there is one of the person, I think Navneet Bhushan sir might know him, is Pratik Kishore. So it was a carpooling random thing. So he asked me what you are pursuing right now. So I told him I'm doing a bachelor's in electronics communication. So he started telling me how the missile telecommunity command and how the electronics works in a missile, and you can contribute if you want. So I told him, yeah, I'll think. Then he gave me an example of Tessie Thomas, that the missile lady is there. So if she can, you can. So think about it, do work on it. Yeah, I'll do. Then also from my father's side, he has worked on Agni projects. So I remember when Agni missile failed one time. So my dad was not in a very good mood, and yeah, he told me that there is some failures, but we will overcome it. He didn't tell the details that time, as it's not allowed. So he did tell that there were some things and all that. So these are the things that I come from, and yeah, I can overcome it from the community. My mother is also a teacher as a profession. So she was an arts physical education teacher in Sanskrit also. So she used to design these alpanas and music. Tabla only I got from her. So this has been my background. So I'm like the competition from outside is more in the inside of the family. That yeah, they have done it. I have also achieved it. So it's not like that. But I have come across many women in my life also. My grandmother, who was very married in very early age, but she pursued her education, and she was a principal of a branch of a school. And in English literature, she had done masters. So yeah, I do come from the family where I have inspiration in family only, and outside, yes, as I said, Tessie Thomas, I have means not met her, but maybe if I have met her, I will greet her nicely. So these are my inspiration, and that's how my journey went. And as, uh, as a person, I was little interested in defense side, so I gave exams and other things. So my father told one thing, that engineer is also a person who helps the backbone of a person who is on the front line of the people. So I said, yes, you're right. Then I came across the pursuing this master's in defense technology. So my quote, if I don't know the needs I remember or not, he has written a random quote. That's it. That neurons doesn't understand my feelings, and neither I understand them. So for my the life journey has been like that only. But they they come, they make a chemical reaction, and yes, fits on the point. Coming to my technical things, I was in LRD. I did have some up and down. I had a fracture even in my internship time. So that didn't stop me from going LRD. I was on a sag going on my one leg, and people were there very helpful and calling the electric vehicles, and I was going. So I saw one lady, and the lady, there was a man who was blind and daily coming on the service in LRD. So that inspired me. If he can, what's the issue in me? So these are some things that I love to draw from the people, that inspires me to work on. And yes, Vinod sir was one of my inspiration in synthetic aperture radar, and Peter Morris. They were the two people who expanded my domain in radar a lot. That it's not this much; it's very big. If you see from a view of an eye, So from their blessing, I did get a view of when I working from a UAV to I went to a satellite. So my project was in satellite, where if we are talking from the art side in the domain, uh, this topic was for unfurlable antenna, and that's made from origami. If I interest you in that, so you actually fold. Even NASA does it. That you fold papers and then it goes up and opens. So it's art only, but in a domain where you can go. So this how things connect, and yeah, I love it to work in what my domains are. I'm still pursuing my master's in other domains, like security purposes, and so I won't stop studying till I achieve whatever I can. So that's my thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know what's there's so much coming through this discussion, and I now understand why Navneet was really hell bent on bringing the both of you in. He's been really following up with me to find out when I can get the both of you on, when we can get the both of you on, and so much is coming through from the perspective of, we all have setbacks. There's no one, without challenges. There's no one without things that come in the way of, a set plan that we have. But something that seems to be very evident, and even in this conversation with the both of you, is the time to really, you both have used the word reflect and think about, and really take the time to be sincere, because I think it's really important for us to be sincere with ourselves and what we want, regardless of what people might think, um, and to educate oneself. I can see that the both of you have been really consistent and very dedicated to studying, even in times where you've lost your job. One of you mentioned that, I think it was Anupama. You lost your job and you could have sat back and done practically nothing, but you really chose to spring back. And in that, what comes through is the frequency of that friction, that tension. You use that to sort of, it's like alchemy, right? Because it feels like a setback, but it's not, because that time and that space has been used to cultivate something else beyond that. You use that current situation to go beyond it and to upgrade. And I think that's very relevant for all of us, because while we might feel really good or be masters in one area of life, there might be other areas where we feel inside, inwardly, that we are lacking. And the lack oftentimes is a perception. And by using those setbacks, you both are proving, you all are both evidence that, whatever uh, space we feel that we ought to be better, or we are being harsh with ourselves, or we think like, we are failing, and we have these hidden expectations of how we ought to be. We can use that, the energy and the frequency of that, as a way to, spring back. And the spring back is always much, much further and much more advanced, primarily because you're educating yourself, you've got mentors. I love how you spoke about, I know from an Indian context, having the support of family is really important. And the both of you have kind of, emboldened that through your own experiences. But also when you don't have that, because many of us may not have family support. And, drawing from your own stories, what I would like to say to, our women who are and who will watch in, even if you don't have that, seek people, seek role models. There will be a lot of people, whether they're on LinkedIn or on networks, that you can reach out to and talk to, because sometimes that's important. You need support structures of people who have your best interests at heart. And let me tell you, and this is for everyone watching in, and I'm also kind of talking to myself as I'm saying this. A lot of times that implies people who want the best and will call you out on the perceptual lens that you are holding yourself to that might be holding you back. So you might also hear feedback that you don't like in the moment, but it is good for you, because if you are judging yourself harshly, if you are not taking enough risk, and if you're not putting yourself out there, you might need people who will push you. You might need people to kind of challenge those beliefs. So I think these are very, very important tenets. And I know one of you ahead of this live had asked me, is this going to be like a technical interview? What are we going to be talking about? And I said, okay, so first off, I'm not a technical person. And the second thing is that the idea of these kind of podcasts is to let people know, especially young women who might be going through setback, who might have challenges, who might have lost their job, who might not have the support that they need. That expand your awareness, open yourself up, because there is support. There will be people to mentor. There will be educational opportunities. One of you spoke about, like, for example, a course that you took in IASC, and I just put that down because I think it's important. And I know, again, from an Indian context and many contexts, cultural contexts, we have a certain path, a linear path of how we should advance our careers, but many people cannot access those kind of opportunities like an IASC. So what do they do? And what want to kind of share with you is that that may not be the only way. There are several other institutions and ways to access information, learn and grow. So don't let your own perception of it has to be this way and I failed this way, so I'm a failure. No, open your mind up, and also um, remind yourself that this is also part of the learning, the caterpillar. We have to go through these things because it's a way that the universe is challenging us to step up and say, hey, this is not the only way. What more am I not considering for myself? Who can I reach out to? What can I learn? Other people, both of you have said something very powerful, that you spoke to people and they advised you about, if that person can do it, you can too. So don't sell yourself short, just because of one little bump in the road. You're much, much bigger than that. And these are very powerful things that I believe, I've had times where I've felt like this, where I've had no support. I didn't know what to do, and I felt like there's a wall in front of me. But I think the beauty of sitting and giving yourself time to breathe, pause, reflect, study, be sincere within your heart about why this is important. Why is it important for you? Because it has to make sense to you. You can learn anything once you have that sorted at the core of who you are from your heart. Things can be learned, skills can be developed, but your inner attitude, the grace that you carry through setbacks, because I can see that from the both of you, and how you choose to take a setback and expand to say, I have so many more options. I've just not yet looked at it. I've not seen it, but I'm welcoming it. Right? This kind of beautiful attitude can really help us advance, and the both of you kind of embody that very, very powerfully. Um, Another thing that I want to bring up is you spoke about getting married. And I know from an Indian context, for a woman, we go through a lot of these beliefs, and they're systemic, about how getting married at a certain age is really important, and this is also community based. And what happens after that? Like, do you just give up your careers? Because we know, even universally beyond India, it's at the mid level that women start to drop off, whether it's because they're getting married and they have family pressures, they're having babies and then they can't come back. So clearly there are other dimensions to this from a systemic perspective, and how we plan and integrate a woman's life cycle, but also for us to understand that that is not a goal, that is part of life, and never to stop investing in oneself. I think these are important things that are coming up through what you spoke about. Um, the other thing is, Navneet, I love how you brought up the topic about switching or transitioning from the background of technology into the arts and vice versa, that's arts into technology. I think this is also the core of our program, but also being able to bring role models such as yourself in, primarily because we have, these perceptual windows that we look through, and we think that just because we have a certain background, we can't go into something else, or just because, we've invested like 10 years in something, we can't go into something else. But that is not true. It comes back to the same, pathway of saying, open your mind up. If you have interest in something, which is the core of it, you can learn anything, you can shift to anything, you can, and it's never lost. Whatever you have learned, so many things from building your confidence, making better decisions, thinking clearly, being sincere about your goals and your aspirations, all of that, apart from the core skills of that area, are integrated. You are already upgraded. You're never lost. Even if you lose a job, you your essence is still maintained. You're just adding to that. So I wanted to bring that up because I know, even like coaching men and women, I know that these are things, especially when you're switching careers, or you've lost a job. It can feel like, where am I, who am I right now? And the both of you have kind of brought that out very, very powerfully. I'm going to take a pause because there's actually so much. I'm just thinking that part two is something that we could also look at, but I just want to take a pause and hand it back to Navneet. I have some points, but I'm sure you also too, especially the part about, the way that both these ladies have navigated life. Because this, if I zoom out of this conversation, that's what comes through for me. You've navigated life, you've navigated social and cultural constructs. You've shattered so many barriers by saying, yes, I can. In substance, that's what you're doing. Even if I've broken my leg, I've lost my job, someone says no to me, there's a door closed on my face, I'm still showing up. Sometimes that might take time, but I'm okay with it. Um, so over to you, Navneet, as we are kind of winding down this conversation, for
I
your
just
thoughts and reflections.
I just want to add to what you said, Caroline, before Sir say something. Like what you rightly said that seeking help to the people is a one of the important aspect. Like I'm coming from a family background where females are not so privileged. It's like my mother's family is highly educated, my dad's family is not that educated. When I was growing up as a child, there were two intent, like I should be good in the education or academics and I should be financially independent. That was ingrained by the ladies in my family that no, when you grow up you should be financially independent, so you have a power to take your decision, you have a ability to put a point of view wherever, whether it's your personal life and professional life. So it's a rightly said that both of us has broken those constructs. And at the same time, getting into ISC is like there are ISC is a, by the way, open course. It's there was altogether a different level of struggles when I was figuring out that what would be the safe space for me where I can flourish in my career. So I was working in Infosys, and then like I was staying in Electronic City, and I am traveling to ISC. So that altogether bring a lot of challenge. But I know that I have to push my limits if I really wanted to make out of my career. And same goes when I I have done my engineering from a very basic engineering college, it's not the IIT or NIT. So for that also I came to Bangalore and then hunt for a job to look out. So there were the a part of struggles were always at every junction of the life. But as you say, like as you rightly said, that we have to bounce back if we really wanted to move forward in the life. The moment we give that, okay, it's like now it's a done, I cannot move forward, and that's it's a done thing. like uh, like as Anupama said that she's pursuing one more master degree. So the same goes with me. Like I have done strategic design management, and I am currently working as a product designer. So I'm constantly thinking how I can integrate my learnings in a more holistic way, rather than using it at the minimalistic way. So that's also come with a intent and the challenge as well. So yeah, just want to add that.
Thank you for that added dimension, Bhavna. Over to you, Navneet.
I think when we started this program, the idea was that this will be a motivational program for the people who are going to listen. But I never thought that I'm going to be motivated so much after listening to both of your life that you have shown. And I do not have any words to understand why I never had this discussion before with you guys, both of you. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, how, in what way, so much of strength you are carrying, and I feel so motivated by both of you. What you have, and specifically, I mean, as of course the trends are there, the non-linearity of these your journey, and of course every life is non-linear. It is not that you decide something and you go next 60 years you're going to do that. I mean, obviously not. But having said that, you find your way and also pursue your interest in a way that you sort of align everything around you to your journey. That both of you have shown, and I think that is where the inherent strength that you carry or you're sort of getting through these influences and inputs. I think that calls for a how many rounds of applause? I think, I mean, that's what I would say. But having said that, I think couple of points that you both of you have mentioned, specifically the quote that Anupama was mentioning about, I know English and none of my neurons know English. Okay? That was the quote, I think, right? The neurons didn't know English, and I
The
think
neuron
I,
doesn't know my
sorry,
emotions.
yeah,
The
something like
neurons
that,
doesn't
right?
link with my emotions, and I don't understand this.
Yeah,
But
something like
still,
that. So
our coordination works. Yeah.
okay. So I think I'm reminded of Richard Feynman, who was one of the great physics teacher and also Nobel laureate. Also, I keep on quoting this particular quote. He said that our small little minds basically divide the universe into divide our fields into physics, into arts, into psychology, right? I mean, into different fields, and we keep on dividing these into our what little sort of explicit type of focus that we have, which becomes our expertise in a particular domain, a particular, and then we call that I am a psychologist, I am a chemical engineer, I am a radar engineer, I am a software engineer, I am this or that, or I am an actor, I am a this. But actually, what he said that all these differences of our minds and our these things, the nature does not know these differences. Nature actually is sort of a accumulation of all these as truth or as a collected or connected way in which the life really flows through. And both your journey seems to be saying this clearly, whether you choose a particular I mean, so-called STEM or STEAM or eight arts or humanities or whatever, doesn't really matter. You really pursue what interests you to the extent that you connect, your heart connects with what you're doing. Seems to be both of you are sort of saying that irrespective of whatever influences everything, would like to pursue what my heart really wants to do today. And that I think Anupam was into physical education, sports, and all this, and then arts, then patterns, and suddenly the radar engineer. I mean, and it's a reverse is true for Bhavna. It's basically she. So that, but till 10th or 12th, I was interested in flowers and craft, everything, and then I'm a career and financial stability is important, therefore engineering has to be there. But then you find yourself again, again. I mean, that seems to be the sort of a learning that I got. So ultimately, we have to find ourselves, and maybe we'll go here and there, but we'll keep on finding ourselves through whatever we pursue. And that, I think, is hats off to both of you. And that is a great learning for me. I'm extremely motivated now. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And just to add to that, being able to move from our heart space and really be sincere about knowing ourselves first, because everything else is a reflection from that. Uh, and there will probably sometimes be these fibers or microfibers of doubt, or maybe a past voice inside. They're not our voices, they're not our thoughts, they've been put there. Maybe, let me take a bold step and say sometimes by our parents, maybe sometimes by people who we've known for long, can come in the way. You can pay attention to all of those voices and you can still be sincere with yourself, with ourselves. And I'm bringing this point in, because what comes through and what has been coming through, about how we look at segmenting our lives into, I've been a nurse or a doctor, an engineer all my life. Now, how do I get into that? But actually, when we step back, and like you said, Navneet, nature doesn't know the difference. We are whole. We are whole beings, and from that comprehensive, very holistic point of view, that is so strengthening to know. We answer to ourselves first, and to the God or source that has provided us expression in this life. And the other thing is that setbacks are not here to stop us. They are here to call forth a higher version of us, where we have to step up, you know, and build better standards for ourselves. That only means that the standard that we're operating at is really low. And using those setbacks, especially when we're moving from our heart, and we're sincere, our intentions are pure, um, we will find the strength. We will, primarily because we are being sincere. We know we're very, very crystal clear in our mind and in our, heart space about why we want to do this, and continuing to use that as an anchor every day. I think it's very important to do this kind of work, this cleansing, and these anchors every day, um, because there are going to be unforeseen, unpredictable things and people and situations that will be thrown at us every day. But if we have these anchors and we're moving from, because the heart space is very strong, so we should never diminish or reduce our strength. In fact, we should move into it, move into our power, and step up. And the other thing that I want to share is that a lot of times we are afraid of our power. We are afraid of shining. We are afraid of succeeding. We are afraid of being seen. So we have to see ourselves first. And yeah, these are some things that I really believe this has been a very, very vibrant, very powerful, very endearing, very sincere conversation. And I wanted to thank you all. Very special thanks to Navneet. The purity of your intention to help this program and to enable other women to see themselves first through the role models that we've brought in, not just our young women professionals, but also Dr. Veena, Dr. Purnima, coming through. They have been through like 20, 30 years of being in technology and what that has meant. These are powerful ways for us to know that we have it inside of ourselves, trusting, building confidence in small steps, sometimes doing one thing in a day, just one thing that will allow us the opportunity to remind ourselves, yes, we can, and it's okay. Even if we try and, there's a setback, even if we try and there's a failure, that doesn't make me a failure. What have I learned from it? How can I show up better? Who am I becoming from a character perspective? These are very powerful things that I really believe that we must step into. I really want to thank all of you for this very, very wonderful conversation, very powerful. And maybe just give you all a minute before we wind down to say whatever you want to say to our guests as well. Bhavna, Anupama,
Yeah, I can start. So, thank you so much, Caroline and Navneet sir, for providing me this opportunity. And it was great knowing Anupama's journey. And it feels that I'm not alone. Everybody has the similar path. I used to think that maybe I'm not a smart kid. Like now, I have settled and at the peace. Earlier, I used to think that people know very early what's their passion and where they really want to go. So it took some time, but hearing Anupama's stories, I it feel that there are more people like me. So I really want to encourage everyone to take their time out, seek out the help, approach people, and there are many good people in the world to help. And whenever I get time, and when people approach, is like I'm approachable on the LinkedIn also. I try to help people to understand the design or a strategic design management course, or when they are in the junction when I used to be, is like to in the dilemmas in their career. So based on my experience, I try to help them to resolve their problems. So I'm also approachable, is like if people are approaching me from any part of the world. So here I don't want to limit myself to only females or women. I'm approachable to the men and female both. So yeah, it's like people can reach out to me over the LinkedIn, and I'm really grateful for this session.
thank you. Anupama, over to you.
Yes, thank you for inviting Kathleen ma'am and the meets. Yeah, Bhavna's journey was also very good, and I love how she's doing the micro study thing and pursuing the path as she is. Yeah, I'm inspired by that, and I'll continue from a large scale of master rather than putting on a micro scale that will help me in my career path. As ma'am said that we are very big, we are ourselves a universe. Yes, I do feel the same, and whatever my drawback and past life, and I have drawn the same kind of thing from it. So you always learn from a nature, from like aeroplanes, like birds to aeroplanes, and anything it is from, we draw from nature, our voice to and radar or anything else. So yeah, I think it doesn't matter for the gender type, but you should always be very welcoming to and any knowledge. And as it's 2024 going on, so there is no limit, and we are in the domain of AI. So everyone is having the chance of a smartphone or a laptop. Please try to explore any free courses on it and do learn from it whatever you can, or pursue in it. If you need any help, I'm on LinkedIn, or any guidance you need in any domain, doesn't matter, in the medical or in arts or any engineering. You can just go and listen to them for free, and then you can work if you want to pursue in this path or domain. It will, knowledge is never limited. I feel it's never negative. It's the way how you use it. So that's my nice conversation. I even learned a main thing from ma'am also. So wow. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We will drop your LinkedIn links on this as well as when we post on LinkedIn as well. Navneet, any final words?
No, no, there's no final word. It's the starting word. I think this is a totally new experience to know Bhavna and Anupa again, and I am so happy to know what they are as sort of people, as real persons. I think so far it was very. I mean, it was. I mean, our interaction has been in a class. I mean, I am teaching, and so many people are there in that class. So I don't know who is what. I mean, whether they are even sleeping or listening, right? But when they are speaking today, I'm not only sleeping. I mean, not sleeping at all. I'm awakened. much more. So thank you both of you, and it has been, I think, the very fascinating journey. I'm really thankful to all three of you for inviting me to this journey of yours. Thank you.
We'd like to thank everyone watching in and who will watch in for joining us on this journey through the STEAM education program. And we have so much more that we are learning as students through this, and just having guests like the guests that we have. Yeah, thank you for joining us and being on this journey with us. Thank you for your time and your heart, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you. Bye bye.